do we have an emergency going on in the silver market? We're going to talk about that. Let's get started. Let's do it all right now. And thank you guys for being here and putting up with this basement dweller as we hang out together today. Are we facing an all-out emergency in the silver market? Will there be massive shortages as we head into the coming 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years? What will that do to the silver price? I got news for you guys. I talked to CEOs of gold mining companies, silver mining companies, over the last month, at least 7 or 8 of them, and I'm hearing the same thing. And this is good news for silver and gold investors, but it really applies to the silver market right now. There is a scarcity of new silver and gold projects. That's an absolute fact. The big companies have not spent money exploring or developing new silver or gold mining projects. And what does that mean? That means their pipelines are running dry. One of the CEOs said something that really knocked my socks off. He said that there's been a 40% reserve decrease in the gold mining sector in the last 12 years. That means the big gold mining companies supply the gold to the market now have 40% less gold in their pipeline that they can produce in the future. Silver, the situation's even crazier. And we know the whole situation with silver, remember, supply and demand. Supply's down here at my chin, demand's up here at my hairline, and they're moving apart. Right? The silver market, it's even more. It's a shrinking business. The mining. Now, what does mining have to do with the price of silver and gold? A lot of us are more focused, and at the end of the day, that's what we're focused on, the price, the value of the silver and gold. What does it have to do? Well, that's the supply. And in silver, it's even more important because a lot of the silver that's supplied to the market, the 850 million ounces every year that's supplied, now, from what I'm hearing, like 600 million of it's being eaten up by industry. We are headed toward a major event, an emergency, in particular in the silver market, where there's just not going to be enough silver being supplied. And think about this. Have you considered this fact? What if, and next we're going to talk about draining the COMEX, but what if all this happens and we get a recession, right? And when we get a recession, 75% of the silver that's mined in the world is a byproduct of base metals. Base metal production will go down. Silver production will go down even further. So yesterday, we're driving to Kansas City, stop at a gas station. I walk in. This is about draining the COMEX, by the way. And I see I'd filled the car up with gas, and I see my 2 daughters standing, hovering. All right, guys, I'm back. I'm back on mobile data. I'm sorry. We're at the Great Wolf Lodge and their internet stinks, okay? It's really horrible. So let me know if you can see me and hear me again. Otherwise, we'll just have to, quick. Ron is frozen like the silver market. Yeah, Ron's back. Okay, so you can see me, hear me. Okay, we're on mobile data now, so everybody stay here. Hey, please give us a thumbs up. I don't have a bell to ring, but nonetheless, we're at the gas station. I told Susie, I'm going to buy a $470 million Mega Millions ticket. You know what she said? I was so proud of her. She said, yeah, then we can drain the COMEX. And I was like, well, we can drain half the COMEX because the COMEX only has 42 million ounces in their registered inventory. It would take about a little under $100 million to drain the COMEX, but I was so proud of Silver Susie and laughed when she said that. Okay, let's get back to it. The mining industry is starved of capital. That means the market will be starved of gold and silver. It's not going to happen overnight, guys, but it is going to happen, and it's going to make a big, big difference in the price of silver and the price of gold. I appreciate you guys sticking with me through this as we're here at the Great Wolf Lodge, okay? Let's talk about Let's talk about the economy real quick. We got news this morning out of Home Depot. I want to read this to you because Home Depot, we actually drove by a couple Home Depots on the way here. Home Depot is like a big bellwether for the U.S. economy. And listen to what we got from Home Depot this morning. Home Depot sales slide for the 5th quarter on weak housing demand. Comparable sales, a key indicator of a retailer's health, fell 3.5%. That's huge for a huge company like Home Depot. And I'm going to tell you something interesting about Home Depot and silver as well. So bear with me on that one. The retailer predicted a 1% decline in comparable revenue for this year. Analysts had been expecting a rise. So the housing market is frozen. The economy is frozen. Joe Biden must not look at Home Depot or one of the biggest retailers in the country when they're figuring up the GDP numbers, right? We know that was a lot of new recreational vehicle sales, but this is a bad sign for the U.S. economy. Are we headed towards a residential real estate collapse, a residential real estate crisis? Everybody talks about all we hear. We've talked about this, basement dwellers. Everybody likes to talk about commercial real estate collapse, and the BTFP, the Bank Term Funding Program, on March 11th will be going away. The reverse repo program has been drained. Nobody's talking about in any way a residential real estate collapse. And think about it. Doesn't it make sense that, we saw house prices basically double over the last 3 years, that we could see a big pullback in residential real estate? What's Home Depot telling us? Talk to a realtor, right? The realtors I talk to, they're all telling me it is frozen, right? It is absolutely frozen out there. Nobody is moving. And I don't know. I don't see this thawing that occurs resulting in higher home prices. Look, I own a home, I don't want bad things, but nobody's talking about it. And isn't it always the things nobody's talking about? We talked about that with the prospect of a depression. It's like a bad word, the D word. We're not afraid to talk about it, but everybody else sure seems afraid to talk about it. Think about this when you think about the silver market in Home Depot. You know this fact. This is a fascinating fact that I read about a month ago about silver and Home Depot. The market cap of Home Depot, that one company, that retail company, its value is like way more than all the silver mining companies in the world combined. Just shows you how starved of capital the silver industry is. And again, silver is really, you got to realize this about silver, right? It's not a huge market, but it's critical, and most of it is being eaten up by industry now. We know that in the last 3 years, like 500 million ounces have been sucked out of the big major exchanges. That's how they've been able to plug the gap that's been created by the demand that is far, far outstripping the supply of silver, okay? It's interesting. We got to stay on top of these things, okay? Silver is still, I'm going to read a couple of highlights to you, 60% from its all-time highs. I heard a couple of people, remember in 1980, 2011, silver got to $50 per ounce. What's it at today? 23 roughly? Silver is still 60%, 50%, 55, whatever percent down from its all-time highs. And that's measured in just nominal dollars. If you apply inflation to it, CoinShop Chris brought up a great point a few weeks back. The 1980 high of $50 per ounce, that would be like $186 per ounce right now. So a lot going on. Industrial demand for silver is growing and growing, now taking up almost 60%, okay? Last year, solar alone ate up 20% of the silver supply. But think about this, okay? The new generation of solar panels is called TOPCon, T-O-P-C-O-N. They're just now starting to manufacture those. It's a little secret, only us basement dwellers know. They're just starting to make these new solar panels. But realize the new solar panels have up to 50% more silver per panel. So even if the amount of solar panels being manufactured stayed even, which it's not. It's projected to go up and up and up. The amount of silver that's being used in each of those panels is going up by almost 50%. Wow. That's why I think that Scottish bank predicted that the solar industry would be using like 100% of the world's silver by the year 2030. Hey, I want to say thank you to our channel sponsor, Pimbex. I don't have the box, but if I did, it'd be right up there on the shelf. Pimbex, Pimbex, Pimbex.com. It's fun to say, it's fun to spell. I almost said spell, but it's even funner that when you buy bullion online, it's much more fun that when your box shows up from Pimbex, you get more metal for your money. Absolutely. Their prices are always second to none. Find out for yourself. Shop around. Throw them into the mix next time you're shopping for bullion. And what you'll find is they got great prices, great selection, great service, and two great guys that own and run the company. They really have a mission to get metal into the hands of everyday people like you and me. And if you ever get to a point where you want to convert an IRA to metal or part of an IRA, do yourself a favor, talk to them about that as well. I think Pimbex is best, and you will too. Let's move on, and thank you, Pimbex. Industrial demand. TopCon, currency debasement. Oh, here, this is excellent. This is what we want to hear as silver investors. There's two core supporting factors right now. We talk about the industrial demand, right? But also underscoring the support, providing a strong foundation for the silver price is currency debasement. Do you think that the government, that the Fed is suddenly going to become fiscally and financially responsible? No. Here, I got something on this other, hold on a second here. Okay, talking about the U.S. debt. This is just unbelievable. The U.S. Treasury, here, listen to this. This is crazy. The U.S. Treasury needs to sell $10 trillion, okay, in debt over the next year. They need to renew. They have $8.9 trillion of debt that's maturing that they're going to need to refinance, right? Because they don't have the money. Imagine this, right? There's almost $9 trillion in debt that's coming due this year, right? So people are going to come to the U.S. government and say, you owe us $9 trillion. Obviously, we can't pay them back, right? Because we have a massive deficit in this country. So on top of that $9 trillion that needs to be rolled over, refinanced at higher rates, there's another $1.4 trillion at least because of the deficit. So do you think, right, as we talk about all that debt being rolled over, do you think suddenly that Jerome and Nancy, not Nancy, Jerome and Janet, that they're going to become fiscally, I mean, why can't we pay the debt off? Isn't that what you would do as an individual? I won't go down that path. You know I hate debt, but wouldn't you, if you had a big credit card balance or a giant whatever student loan balance or a giant whatever, you would, the idea is you take out debt and you pay it off. It feels like our government, like they don't even think about, oh, we could pay the national debt off. Imagine that. Maybe somebody should run for president on that. I think there's a lot of smart Americans out there like, yeah, we're okay with balancing the budget. We're okay with doing what we need to do for the future of our children and grandchildren. And that's why you own silver, you own gold for your children and your grandchildren. It's a generational investment, right? Circle back to what we just said just a few seconds ago. What's underpinning silver? Industrial demand. We could talk about that all day long, but also currency debasement. And that's what our government officials are doing to us, okay? Another super interesting, this is again, right? This is something that everybody talks about the same stuff over and over, me included. Susie's right on the other side of that wall. Susie, what do you like to refer to me as? Repeater Ron.
I just rang the 100-light bell for you.
Oh, she just rang the bell. Thank you guys for the 100 thumbs up. I forgot to, hey, and I'm going to tell you about what the economy and what's going on here at this Great Wolf Lodge. Darn it, I lost my train of thought. What was I just talking about? I had something very critical to talk about. Oh, the thing that nobody's That's why I forgot, because nobody's talking about it. It's over in the corner, but it's a secret, and it's a good thing for the silver price, demand for silver. Silver's role as an antibacterial, germicide, whatever you want to call it, it kills germs. That segment of the market is exploding. Okay, I've heard several top analysts talk about this, how it's a sleeper that nobody's talking about. Rick Rule talked about it just the other day, that we've got this massive growth in the silver market as a germicide. Silver kills germs. That's why they make silver spoons. That's why it's used in water filtration. That's why it's used in sanitation treatment. That's why it's used in all types of medical applications. Right? So you got the TopCon solar panels, you've got the healthcare germicide. Everywhere we look, the silver and the fact that our government is debasing our currency. And those two things, industrial demand and coupled with the currency debasement, I don't care what anybody says. And I could be dead wrong. Don't make any financial decisions based on what I'm saying. But I agree with what the smartest people in the room are saying. This is an opportunity. If people own silver, the downside is far outweighed by the potential upside, right? Yeah, sure. Silver could go down $5 an ounce. It could happen, $18 silver. I can't really see it going down that low. And on top of that, and I got something Lynette Zhang said, I'm going to tell you about it later, but on top of that, even if silver does go down to 18 an ounce, I guarantee you're probably going to be paying 23 or 22 or more per ounce. Remember 1 year ago. Let's remember. All right. For those of you that are new, maybe you don't remember this, but a lot of us basement dwellers who've been around here for a while remember this. And by the way, thank you for being here. I'll ask one time, please give this a thumbs up. It helps get the word out to more people. And it also, Susie's trying to say, what'd you say, Susie?
Just mention to anybody when the giveaway is.
Yeah, somebody won the giveaway. Go watch the replay of, is it? No, nobody's claimed it yet. So when I draw the name for the giveaway, the person has 96 hours. I redrew on Sunday. If this person doesn't send me an email in 96 hours, I will redraw again this Thursday. Don't worry, I'm not trying to keep the silver or anything like that. I'll keep redrawing until one of our basement dwellers claims it. Gosh, where was I again? Now I get this disrupted and I forget what I was talking about. So anyway, that's why we own our silver and gold. Industrial demand, currency debasement. We know what's going on in the green industry. All-in sustaining cost, they were talking about that for silver, is through the roof, okay? That means that, and projected to continue to go, as silver being, right? It's not a no-lose. There's no guarantee. I can't sit here. Anybody who sits here and tells you they know for sure what's going to happen is absolutely lying to you. And you don't want to be lied to. But the opportunity on the upside is so much bigger and the downside is so limited. One of the reasons why, all-in sustaining cost, the amount that it costs for a silver miner, a lot of work goes into that beautiful silver, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. It's a hard job, a hard business, okay? And the cost continue to go up and up and up. So that will support, on top of currency debasement and industrial use, the fact that the cost to get that silver out of the ground, and don't forget, 60% of it gets eaten up by industry every year, and that number is growing. The cost to get it out of the ground goes up and up and up. And on top of that, there's no pipeline. There's no money. That's what we started the live stream talking about. There's no money going into this. And that does matter for the value of the silver that you own right now, maybe that you buy today. It does matter. I want to say thank you to our two mining company sponsors here on Ron's Basement, Fortuna Silver. They have a silver mine in Mexico. They have a silver mine in Peru, but they actually mine more gold now. and they have a gold mine in Burkina Faso, a gold mine in Cote d'Ivoire, the Ivory Coast of Africa, and a gold mine in Argentina. You can check them out at fortunasilver.com. First Mining Gold is in Canada, exclusively in Canada. They have 13 million ounces of gold stored nicely, tucked away in the ground. They're a development stage company. The gold's already been discovered. The gold's already been drilled out and determined through those scientific methods they use. They're working through the permitting process. They have the Springpole project in Ontario and the Du Parquet project in Quebec. If you want to learn more about First Mining Gold, firstmininggold.com, or you can always reach out to Paul Morris, paul@firstmininggold.com. That's all. No more commercials, guys. Now we're going to get into some really interesting. So we talked about, what did Lynette Zhang said something lately on a panel she did at the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference. That is good news for you and me, silver investors. Absolutely good news, okay? They asked her, where do you see the silver price at the end of the year? This year, 2024. And she asked a critical question that a lot of us forget to ask when we're thinking about the quote-unquote price of silver. She said, do you mean the spot price, or do you mean the price plus the premium that everyday people like me and you, right? When we go to our local coin shop, when we go to Pinbex, when we go to wherever you choose to buy, I do recommend you at least give Pinbex a shot. I think you'll like what you find out there, but nonetheless, that's the price we pay. And she said, I'll give you the price, which is the spot plus the premium for the end of the year. And she said $45 per ounce. That was her prediction for silver. Look, we've got this confluence of factors heading our way. We know how screwy in the United States. Let's just do a quick review because it's scary. Take your blood pressure medicine. I took mine this morning before we talk about what's heading our way, right? We know the fiscal mismanagement in this country. We just talked about earlier, $9 trillion in debt needs to be refinanced. Another $1.4 trillion of new debt needs to be financed. Over $10 trillion at higher interest rates. It doesn't work, guys. It doesn't work. And I'm excited. I got a great little example I want to give you here at the end. Okay, monetarily, the Fed's out of control, right? They've done money printing, unicorn fart dust, whatever you want to call it, any word, electronic, it's a mess, right? The Fed is the Fed a bank? I like to pose this question. Let me ask you this. I put it in the comments. I can't see the comments, but Susie can. Is the Fed a bank, or has the Fed become more of a public relations firm? If they were dealing with real money, they wouldn't have to be, and my argument is, and you don't have to agree with me, but if they were dealing with real money, they wouldn't have to be a public relations firm. Okay, so that's just domestically. Oh, and by the way, the country hates each other. People either hate Trump or they hate Biden, right? Politically, socially, we're more divided in this country than any other time in history. That's a real issue, a real problem, okay? That's what we're heading into, right? Oh yeah, wait, but let's just zoom out real quick and look at the world, right? We have Russian leaders talking about nuking U.S. capitals and European capitals. We have the BRICS and the BRICS Plus. I can't deny it. I can say the BRICS faster than anybody, all 10 of them on the internet. You got Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. You've got Iran, Saudi Arabia, Ethiopia, Egypt, and the United Arab Emirates, and 30 more countries that want to join them. Think about that. And they're all moving away from the dollar, right? Debasement of the dollar. The United States is doing a good enough job domestically screwing everything up. But on a worldwide geopolitical basis, we've actually done even worse, right? The world moving away from the dollar. We won't go down that path. But I want to give you an example of what's going on in the world right now. I'm going to simplify it, right? Because we can talk all these fancy terms and confusing bifurcation. Bifurcation. The world is bifurcating. I have to look that up on Google. I've told you because I looked it up. Bifurcating means splitting. Nonetheless, here's an easy way to think about what's going on in the world right now. If the whole world were boiled down to a small community of just 10 people, okay? And the United States was one of those 10 people. China was one of those 10 people. Russia was one of those 10 people. Maybe Canada, whatever countries you want. But we're going to look at the big ones, the United States and some of the BRICS countries. But the whole world's just 10 people in a little community, and everybody does different things and helps each other. United States would be that one person in that community that keeps asking people, hey, we need you to do, I'll pay you back. We promise we'll pay you back in the future. We really need some bread, or we really need something fixed at our house or our shelter. But we don't have any money right now, and we don't have any gold, but we'll pay you back in the future. But we're the biggest, the guy in the United States house is the biggest and the strongest. Well, he's getting old and he's getting frail, and he's not such a big bully anymore. And all these other people in the community are like, you know what? I'm sick of this guy always wanting us to do stuff for him, and he doesn't have anything real to trade. It gets to a point where those other 8 or 9 people in the community say, hey, you know what? If you want our bread, you're going to have to hand over some of that gold you have. The point I'm making is, if you think about it on that very simplistic scale, gold and silver are becoming much more recognized, and they are, I use the analogy of the great bear that's been hibernating, right? He didn't die, he's waking up. Gold and silver are becoming much more by default, right? Since they have been the universal store of value throughout the ages, they're re-emerging, right? They're growing. And at some point, the United States could be forced, because we're kind of the aging superpower who's done some, oh, thank you, Daniel, for the super chat, the $2 challenge. We're the aging superpower, and now the younger growing countries are calling our bluff, okay? This is interesting. Am I wrong? I get wrong all the time, okay? It costs, or it takes 90 ounces, roughly. I think it's come down a little bit, but around 90 ounces of silver to get 1 ounce of gold. Yes, the silver to gold ratio. Is it a bubble? Yes, it's a bubble. I don't have my charts with me, but if you look back over the last 50 years, the silver to gold ratio has only been above 90 very briefly, and only a couple times, okay? Only a couple times. So is it a bubble? Absolutely it's a bubble. Will it correct? I mean, on average, it's around 60 over the last 40 or 50 years. Okay, so it will come back to that. Right now, if it was at 60, we would have $33 gold. But here, I have proof for you, okay? An actual hard statistics, the silver to gold ratio. Most people call it the gold to silver ratio, but to me that doesn't make sense. Hey, thank you, Neil. Hey, good to see you, Neil. Thank you for the super chat, my friend. Wow, super appreciated. Platinum, Neil. Neil is the platinum guru. Absolutely. Neil from Neil's Hans Dynasty. Silver to gold ratio has only been this high, okay, for 210 days out of the last 25 years. All right? That shows how crazy this market is right now. Again, if we had a silver to gold ratio of 50, which is in the range of where it's been over the last 40 years, we would have a silver price of $40 per ounce. If we go to $3,000 gold, and we're going to talk more about this in a future live stream, but Citi, a Citi analyst, one of the top analysts at Citi, just put out a big, groundbreaking piece of research where he lays out the idea that $3,000 gold is not out of the question. So let's just do a little fun math, basement dwellers. Let's say it's November 14th, 2024, and we do have $3,000 gold, and we do have a 50-to-1 silver to gold ratio. That would put us at $60 per ounce silver, almost triple from where we are now, right? I know it sounds crazy, but I don't know. Think about what these cryptocurrencies have done over the years. Think about what a lot of the other asset classes have done, and it's not really all that far out of the realm of possibilities. Yeah, talking about the economy, I'll mention this. We're at the Great Wolf Lodge, which is like a giant daycare mega hotel with a water park and more little kids running around than you can shake a stick at. The daughters are having a great time. But what I'm amazed by is it's a Tuesday and this place is packed. And I'm going to tell you, I'm frugal Ron. I bought our rooms on Groupon. I got like the best price that you could get. This place is expensive, very expensive. It's like Disney World, right? Like you get there and there's any which way that they can get you to buy a $5 bottle of Gatorade or an $8 bottle or a $10 beer, whatever the case may be. And this place is packed. I'm just looking around and I'm wondering, like, how are people affording this? And I'm not judgmental because it's a wide swath of people that are here, but how are people able to afford this? Are people just putting it on their credit card? And I got a feeling that that's the case. I'm going to have a quick drink of coffee. Let me know, quick question, and Susie can read this. I have a new microphone. It's wireless. I'm curious if you guys can hear me. We are on mobile data, so I apologize for the quality of either the audio or the video and the problems that we had when we first started out. Excuse me. I think you probably just heard me slurp. Maybe one of the biggest pieces of news for silver and gold investors in the last week. And some people are talking about this, but in case you haven't heard, okay? In case you haven't heard, Stanley Druckenmiller, he's the smartest guy in the room, okay, that you've never likely heard of. He is one of the most respected names on Wall Street. Like the smart guys on Wall Street that maybe you do know their names, they all look up to Stan Druckenmiller. You know what he did, right? He sold traditional technology stocks, okay? Amazon, Facebook, Microsoft. He sold a bunch of those. And you know what he bought? Gold mining stocks. What does that tell us? That tells us the smart money is starting to slowly, and he only tells everybody that he did that because he's required. He's so rich, he has to fill out one of these 13F forms, okay? The smartest guy in the room, Stan. I've always said that about Stan Druckenmiller. Not now just because he's buying gold mining stocks, but because he has had a history and the guy is spot on. Look him up, Stan Druckenmiller. Do yourself a favor. He does about 2 interviews a year. Very intelligent. And guys, the fact that he has become bullish on gold is a good sign, okay? Oh, did you hear about the guy? Did you hear about the guy who bought a tank? One of you sent me this interesting. He bought a tank on eBay, I think it was, from the Iraq, I guess left over from Iraq. He bought this tank, this guy in England that collects tanks. He's working on his tank and he opens up goes to clean out the gas tank and it's full of gold bars. And then he turned them all in. So now it's a few years later and he's saying, man, I wish I hadn't turned in all those gold bars because I didn't get anything out of the deal. I don't know. Okay, let's talk about manipulation in the silver market. I was looking at the data Sunday night around 8 p.m. Eastern time. Pull up a chart. It happened again. We had gold trading at like $23.44 per ounce. In 15 minutes or maybe 5 minutes, gold got smashed down 2% on a Sunday night. Isn't it funny how they wait to do that? We've heard that all the time. Like that's when they really like to manipulate the price of the metals. 8 o'clock Eastern on a Sunday night, and you look at a chart of silver, and it's going, hey, it's 23.40, and then whoa, straight down, 2% in like 15 minutes. Now I didn't have access to the data, but I bet my right toe that there in that 15-minute period where silver got smashed down, that the amount of silver traded during that period was probably equal to like 5, maybe even 10% of the entire annual production of silver. It's absolutely a case that the silver and gold prices are manipulated. And we look no further than the recent conviction in jailing of 2 JP Morgan traders, which we know is just the tip of the iceberg. And don't forget, guys, as we go back to our silver story, right? Currency debasement, industrial demand, the supply is shrinking. Do you not find it absolutely shocking? I mean, it's shocking that the silver price is not higher, because the country of Mexico in the last 2 years, the amount of silver produced out of Mexico is down, I'm hearing now, as much as 25%. And why is that a big deal? Because Mexico is the world's biggest silver producer by far. Okay. And when you go to Peru, which is also one of the world's biggest silver producers, the amount of silver coming out of Peru is going down as well. I mean, it's absolutely crazy how the supply of silver coming into the world market is going down at a time when the price is going up. And that difference, again, has been plugged over the last 3 years by that 500 million ounces that was sucked out of the COMEX and the LBMA and the Shanghai Gold Exchange, for that reason, for that matter, as well. So, interesting scenario that we're looking at right now. Okay. I guess that's it. I want to finish with this, guys. I have an important message for you. Yesterday morning, I've had horrible back pain. I don't want to cry. It actually goes away when I'm doing the live stream, which is very strange, but really bad back pain, and my brain's not. Yesterday morning on the live stream, I got the buttons mixed up on the mute and the, so when I thought I was talking and you could hear me, I was muted, and oh my God, you know, live streaming's always, well, it's just that. This is live. I'm doing this absolutely live. But you didn't hear what was the most important thing I wanted to say. Yesterday was my 54th birthday, and thank you to everyone out there. I got a lot of nice super chats, a lot of nice gifts, super appreciated, right? The people have made this channel what it is. But I want to tell you, because I don't know that all of you know this, I really, now this marks the 2-year anniversary of Ron's Basement. I started the channel, focused on it when I was 52 years old. I said I'd make one video a day for a year. I did it for a year, and I said I'd do it for another year. And I guess I need to say it again. I'll put out a piece of content every day for the 3rd year in a row. But it's been great getting to know you, right? That's been the surprise of it all. I mean, I really studied YouTube. I want to give people value. I want to give you value. And I get so much feedback from you guys. Some of it's constructive criticism, some of it's funny, some of it's awesome, but the community, the thing that surprised me was you, right? That I would meet so many unbelievable nice people, right? I could name some names, but I feel remiss because I don't want to miss anybody, but Susie from Susie's house, she's been great to get to know. Susie's been a big part of this journey. Thank you, Susie. Jake from Jake's Custom Parts, of course, Coin Shop Chris, Jim M, Craig, all the moderators, Sassy Silver, Annie Oakley, just some great Metal Seer, who Susie's telling me some names now. Craig, yes, everybody. That's been the best part of the journey, okay, is meeting you and getting to share this with you, because we're in a, you know, it can be tough. The subject matter that we're dealing with, we're kind of digging in the dirt, is what I like to say from time to time. Don, I'm forgetting a lot of people, but anyway, Don the Brain, right? Most recently, my friend from college, Sean, but we're digging in the dirt. Right? We're willing to look at the tough subject matter, and it can be, you know, it can be depressing at times, right? We're not just sitting here looking for unicorns. We look for unicorn fart dust, right? The paper money, but we're not looking for just the lollipops and rainbows. We're dealing with the real stuff, and it's a big deal to me. Unbelievable what you guys have been able to kind of help me with in this community. You know, it's hard work. It is, no doubt about it. Running a YouTube channel is not what I thought it was going to be, but it's way worth it. You know, and
good question.
Yeah.
Steve gave you super chat and asked Ron, why does silver move opposite from gold?
Why does silver move opposite from gold? Well, usually, Metal Seer, that's a great question. Usually, and there's probably different opinions on this, but my opinion over the years is that we will see a long-term trend where silver will move with gold. Okay, so it's important, and I'm going to come back to your specific question to remember this is so key, and more people are talking. If we get $3,000 gold, like the Citi analyst is talking about, that's going to drag up silver with it. Silver, there's a saying that I've heard recently, and I've heard it said many different ways. When gold runs, silver sprints. So usually gold will move first, and then there's a delay, and silver will move, but silver will move in a much more exaggerated fashion. Now, the other component to that, Metal Seer, is yes, we will have little windows, little periods of time when you'll see gold, let's say gold moving up and silver stagnating, or silver, can be attributed to the fact that silver also has this major industrial component to it, right? And silver is very manipulated, probably much more manipulated in price than gold. So you'll get these periods where the silver price will react differently in the short term to things like economic news and industrial demand. But over a longer period of time, it is undeniable that silver and gold have a very definable relationship to each other in terms of their price moves. And I'll repeat, typically when gold moves, silver follows, and silver follows in a much more dramatic fashion. Hey, we got 200 thumbs up. Thank you, guys. Hey, thanks for putting up with me here. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Yes, all of you were very nice. I turned 54 yesterday. I'll do it another year. What the heck? It's been great. I appreciate it. Thank you for being here. I hope you have a great day. You deserve it. Thank you to our sponsors, Pimbex, First Mining Gold, and Fortuna Silver. Enjoy yourself. I'm going to go see if I can jump in a swimming pool with my daughters, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, probably later on in the day. I'll do a live stream. I think I scheduled it already for 6 p.m. tomorrow. Okay, back in the basement. Take it easy. Thank you. Bye-bye.